few years ago, I made a YouTube video called Why the Trinity is a Satanic Lie. And recently, I got a comment from someone that made me think about a lot of things differently. And I wanted to share what he said and how it made me look at things differently. Because I think it would also make other people see things differently also. This is what he said to me. He said, John chapter 1, verse 1, which I will read in a second here. Jesus Christ, the Word, was with Jehovah God, and therefore cannot be Jehovah God. Jesus Christ is God, and he spells God with a small g. Jesus Christ is God just as Moses was a god to Pharaoh. So when I read this, it didn't sound completely right to me. But something was telling me that I should look into this a little bit deeper. So I found the verse that he was talking about Moses being a god to Pharaoh, and I'm going to read that to you. I'm going to read it from the Revised New World Translation that was printed in 2013. So it's in Exodus chapter 7, verse 1. It says, Jehovah then said to Moses, See, I have made you like God to Pharaoh. And God is spelled with a capital G, and it's got an asterisk taking you to the footnote. Footnote says, literally, made you God. So the translation says, I made you like God to Pharaoh, which means something different from the footnote. Made you God and like God is two different things. How was Moses like God to Pharaoh? Pharaoh was supposed to be a god himself. Did Pharaoh actually worship Moses? Did he get down on his knees and actually give Moses worship as a god? There near the end of the last few plagues, Pharaoh told Moses, if you look at my face, you will die. The day you see my face, you will positively die. So Moses would approach Pharaoh with his face covered. So how was, Pharaoh wasn't obviously giving Moses the respect he should have, but he was nice to him when he wanted the plague to stop. So he also the person who made a comment also mentioned John chapter 1 verse 1, which I'm going to read to you. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was a God. And the God is spelled with a capital G, and the footnote says, or was divine, small d, or was divine. So, the person said to me, Jesus Christ is God just as Moses was a god to Pharaoh. Is that an accurate statement? Was Moses a god? The translation said he was like God. Jesus Christ is God. Small g. So this made me start to wonder here. You know, I've always understood God to mean the definition of a God is someone that is worshipped. You can't be a God if you're not worshipped. That's what I understand the word to mean. So I was always confused growing up as a Jehovah's Witness when they would say Jesus Christ is a God. Like in Isaiah, the Bible calls Jesus Christ a mighty God. They acknowledge, the Jehovah's Witnesses always acknowledge Jesus Christ as a God, but they never, even to today, I never hear them speaking of Jesus. They don't refer to Jesus Christ as a God unless they're actually reading that Bible verse. But they don't say, they say Jehovah God all the time, but they don't say Jesus God. Jesus is referred to as a king, as a Lord. He is a God, but they never say it. Why not? And when they say Jehovah God, they always put God at the end of the like when you call somebody a king, you don't say the first name and then king, like George King. You say King George. You put the designation before the personal name. Why do they say Jehovah God after the name? And why don't they put this designation to Jesus Christ? So this made me think about the whole definition of what is a God. So I went on the internet, the trusty internet, and I Googled, are all gods worshipped? Because that's what I've always understood the definition of a God to be. Is someone or something that is worshipped. And to my amazement, it said, no, not all gods are worshipped. So this changed everything for me. I mean, I'm turning 50 years old, and I've been sitting in churches my whole life, and I still attend the Kingdom Hall, and I'm realizing something totally new that puts everything in a new perspective for me. So not all gods are worshipped. But another thing I've struggled with always is understanding what constitutes worship. The Bible says that we are supposed to give superior authorities honor, due honor, and I'll read that to you right now, actually. Let Romans 13 verse 1. Let every person be in subjection to the superior authorities, for there is no authority except by God. Even the devil's authority, right? There's no authority except by God. The existing authorities stand place in their relative positions by God. We have all these different ranks of gods. Not all are gods. Like Jesus Christ is a mighty God. Satan is a god. But not they're all in their place, in their position. They all stand in their relative positions by God. Therefore, whoever opposes the authority has taken a stand against the arrangement of God. Um, verse 4, for it is God's minister to you for your good. And there it says to be in subjection. And verse 6 says, that is why you're also paying taxes, for they are God's public servants, constantly serving this. They are, they are God's public servants, constantly serving this very purpose. Render to all their dues. To the one who calls for the tax, the tax. The one who calls for the tribute, the tribute. To the one who calls for fear, the one who calls for fear, such fear. To the one who calls for honor, such honor. So, growing up as Jehovah's Witness was very difficult because we weren't allowed to stand for the national anthem. We weren't allowed to say the Lord's Prayer. We weren't allowed to celebrate Christmas or Valentine's or any of these, participate in activities associated with these holidays in the classroom, because we were told that it's a compromise. To sing the national anthem was, I don't know if I'm using the word worship right. They were saying almost like an act of worship to the wild beast, according to the Jehovah's Witnesses. When Hitler, when the Jehovah's Witnesses refused to salute Hitler and say Heil Hitler, they were thrown into concentration camps. But it says, to the one who calls for honor, such honor. Where does honor become worship? Or where are we betraying our allegiance to God and becoming part of this world where, as Christians, we're not supposed to? Where do we draw the line of respect and worship? So what is worship? What constitutes worship? Peter said he wouldn't deny Christ the night of his death, and he did. Denied him 3 times. He said, I do not know the man. And yet, he was forgiven. I'm going to read Exodus. Exodus 19, verse 3. You must not have any other gods besides me. Jehovah saying you must not have any other God. Yet Jesus Christ is a God. But verse 5 says, you must not bow down to them, nor be enticed to serve them. For I, Jehovah, your God, am a God who requires exclusive devotion. You must not bow down to them, nor be enticed to serve them. When Jesus Christ tempted the devil, Matthew 4, verse 10, the devil told Jesus, he says, I will give you all these kingdoms if you will do an act of worship to me. What's an act of worship? What constitutes worship? How do we give Jesus due honor but not worship him? The Bible says in Exodus, you must have no other gods besides me. He's a God who requires exclusive devotion. The Bible's saying there is only one object of worship in the whole universe. There's no other person or thing that we are supposed to worship. So what is worship? And how do we make sure we're that category is only for Jehovah? There's a lot more that can be said. Bible says that every knee must bend before Christ. And in the Bible, in Revelation, you have people singing to Jesus Christ the Lamb. They worship Jehovah and they actually sing a song to Jesus. Is singing worship? Is bowing, getting down on your knee before Christ worship or that level of honor? But if we get too low, if our face hits the ground, is that crossing a line? If we are in a situation we are commanded to salute someone in power, a king or a queen or something. I mean, it's in Canada. It's not very popular to do stuff like that. But maybe in another country that you are in situations like that. Where do we draw the line between honor and worship? The Bible says we are required to give fear and honor to the ones that demand it. So I invite your comments, just to express your own. See, I think part of this. I don't think I'm the only one who's having trouble finding these clear lines where putting worship and honor in the right place. And I think this confusion actually contributes to people compromising because they're not clear. They're not clear what to do. So I invite your comments as what would you do in these situations? Where do you draw the lines? And appreciate you watching my video and stay blessed.